All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming to this press conference. We have a few great speakers, but without further ado, we'll start things off with the Minister of Community and Social Services, Jason Lewan. Minister?
Thank you, Justin. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to come here to talk to you. I'm pleased to be here with Minister Lagrange on behalf of Premier Jason Kenney and all my colleagues in government. Alberta government today is making a significant announcement. We're investing $1 million a year over the next 5 years for a total of $5 million to support wellness, resiliency, and partnership, otherwise known as a RAP project. This will help students with fetal alcohol syndrome disorder, or short name FASD, you'll hear people using that over and over today, across the province, reaching their full potential. This project is part of the platform commitment we made to Albertans back in 2019. I am so pleased to say another promise made, promise kept. Working with the Alberta FASD networks and Alberta Education, we're giving educators the tools to better support students who need it. The project provides FASD-informed support to students to help them get the most out of their school community. By giving educators across Alberta the skills they need, we're setting students and teachers up for success. With the fetal alcohol networks and Alberta Education leading the way, we're providing more inclusive school environment for everyone. A key difference between what we're announcing today and the previous version of RAP program is this one is more comprehensive and this one goes to provincial-wide. Just a bit of background information for you that the previous version of RAP started as a pilot back in 2009, but was unfortunately ended by previous NDP government. During our last campaign, we heard it loud and strong from communities, from families and kids in the community that they really needed this. We made a promise that will restore that, and today we're delivering just that. I had a very brief briefing with our service providers here and Minister Lagrange and her colleagues. I was very pleased to learn that since October this year, we started preparing the soft relaunch on this. As of today, only in the last couple of weeks, there are over 28 school authorities has already signed up on this. There are 6 consultations has already occurred, with over 70 teachers has already involved in the soft launch. We're so much looking forward to today's announcement so that all Albertans, family, and kids who deserve for the service now can take full advantage of this. And thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the rest of the proceedings today.
Thank you, Minister Lewan. I'll now ask Education Minister, the Honourable Adriana Lagrange, to step up to the stage and provide some brief remarks. Minister?
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here today with Minister Lewan to announce this important initiative, which is something Alberta's government promised in our election platform. Fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, also known as FASD, is the leading known cause of developmental disability in Canada. It's a lifelong, preventable disability that affects about 4% of all Canadians, or 1.4 million people. In Alberta, approximately 174,000 people, including many children and youth, are living with FASD. Each individual with FASD is unique and has their own strengths and challenges. However, without support, the personal and social impacts of FASD can be profound. Early identification, intervention, and appropriate supports can make all the difference for someone living with FASD, especially children and youth in Alberta's education system. Alberta's government is committed to helping all students reach their full potential. That's why, as Minister Lewan announced, we're investing $1 million per year over 5 years to launch the new RAP 2.0 FASD Coaching Partnership Program. We know the RAP pilot project, which ended in 2017, made a real difference for students and their families, and we learned a great deal from it. Despite its successes, the pilot had one significant limitation. It was only available to students in certain parts of the province. Expanding on the pilot, we developed a new service delivery model that focuses on building the capacity of school authorities and their staff. This new model will allow the project to be implemented in all corners of the province, meaning every student with FASD will be given access to an inclusive, high-quality education. All schools in Alberta can access FASD-informed tools and coaching support. This project will give school authorities the opportunity to build the capacity of a range of staff, not just teachers and educational assistants, but also leadership and support staff, including even bus drivers. FASD instructional coaches will provide professional learning sessions and coaching to school staff. The schools will have the flexibility to set the schedules that work best for them. We've also released a new resource for educators called Relationships Matter, how relational-based supports can make a difference in Alberta schools. It integrates many of the learnings about these types of supports from the former RAP coaching project, and it uses current and emerging evidence to provide best practices for building healthy relationships with all students. Giving educators and the school authority staff, giving educators and the school authority staff the skills and tools they need to support students with FASD will enhance the social, emotional, mental, and physical well-being of so many students. It will also help our students who are part of an inclusive education system, one where every person is valued and every voice is heard. This is critical. By supporting inclusive learning environments, we can create stronger, more inclusive communities right across this province. And we'll continue to work with local FASD networks as well as community and social services to ensure school staff have the tools they need to support Alberta students. Every child, and I mean every child, regardless of the obstacles they face, deserves an opportunity to succeed. This new initiative will give students in Alberta that opportunity by ensuring that they can play, they can grow, and they can learn in every classroom across this province. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Minister Lagrange. I will now ask the Executive Director of the Central Alberta FASD Network, Julie Nansen-Ashton, to join us for a few words. Julie?
Thank you. Good morning. As one of the 12 fetal alcohol spectrum disorder service networks in Alberta, we are excited to be collaborating with the Ministry of Community and Social Services and Ministry of Education on the implementation of this new FASD service delivery model. The RAP 2.0 Coaching Partnership Project builds capacity within the education system and across all Alberta school authorities, including First Nations communities and Métis settlements, by leveraging the success of existing FASD initiatives currently led by the FASD networks. Through an FASD instructional coaching approach, schools will be supported to enhance inclusive learning environments where diversity is embraced and every student is welcome, cared for, respected, and safe. The FASD instructional coach helps to facilitate change and is a driver of capacity enhancement and teamwork through large group, small group, and one-to-one coaching. Their goal is to facilitate professional learning in the field of FASD, including FASD-informed instructional and classroom strategies, and to further develop school staff knowledge and student engagement. To date, the project has been well received in our community and across many other communities in the province. FASD instructional coach Patricia Kincaid will speak to some of the preliminary outputs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julie. And without further ado, I will introduce RAP 2.0 instructional coach, Patricia Kincaid, to join us on the stage and say a few words. Patricia?
Hello everyone and good morning. My name is Patricia Kincaid and I am one of the FASD instructional coaches for the Central Alberta FASD network. I'm excited to be representing the 9 other FASD instructional coaches who are part of the RAP 2.0 FASD coaching partnership project. As FASD instructional coaches, we support the promotion of positive learning environments by facilitating the collaboration between teachers and educational stakeholders. This includes supporting school staff in exploring the use of research-based, FASD-informed instructional strategies to meet their professional development and learning needs in the field of FASD. Our work as FASD instructional coaches is cooperative and supportive, focusing on growth and goals determined by individual schools. Our coaching model is one of partnership, where we value the contributions and insights of those teachers and administrators we work with. Although we are just beginning our work with Alberta schools, I have some exciting preliminary numbers and outputs to share with you today. As of October 29th, our project has engaged with 71 school staff, including teachers, school leadership, and education support teams, reaching 28 school authorities. Our relationship-focused model of FASD coaching has reached 214 education professionals in large group and small group settings, 5 formal professional development sessions, 6 case consultations, modeling activities, and other coaching activities in the school settings. With this announcement today, the momentum will continue to build for this new project, and we look forward to connecting with our school staff and co-learning as we move forward together. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. We'll now move into our live portion of today's Q&A. Just a reminder to journalists joining us in person and on the phone, you have 1 question and 1 follow-up. We're going to start on the floor today, so Lisa or Lana have any questions, please step up to the mic, state your name, your outlet, and the question you want to ask towards your journalist or towards the minister or our guest.
Okay. You mentioned a lot about the sort of instructional modeling that is happening, but could you give us a few examples of how students with FAS would require different sorts of instruction than other students?
Thank you. So this particular program is working exclusively with the teachers and other assistant staff, as Minister Lagrange had stated, even bus drivers, administrative staff, front desk staff. So it's really working with the teachers to let them know how to work with individuals with FASD. So it's a disability, and it's a brain and body-based disability, and so it's really important for folks to recognize that these individuals are unique and their brains are unique, and working with them does require a different set of skills. It requires a lot of patience, and it also requires some different strategies than you would work with a typical individual with an IQ that is within the normal range.
Thank you, Julie. Lana, do you have a follow-up?
I do have a follow-up question, but it's off topic and it's to the education minister. If I could. We were trying to reach you last week with this. Sorry for bringing
Not a
it
problem.
at this point, but it's an opportunity. There was a lot of concern that was raised about the lack of schools that are buying into the new curriculum, and whether the results of the pilot would be scientifically valid because of the lack of uptake on this. And I'm just wondering if you could comment on that, and also let us know if there's a certain threshold of schools that the government had set out to pilot the program through.
Well, we had capacity to take up to 10% of schools to pilot. We are sitting at approximately 2%, given COVID and given the fact that in previous years, piloting was not something that took place. This is relatively new, something that we want to do, but I feel very strongly that we do need to pilot. So we have 360 teachers and about 7,800 students that are piloting the program, the draft curriculum. And what we will learn from that, I think, will be beneficial, because when we look at how we move forward in terms of what content needs to shift or perhaps, move to a different grade level, et cetera. When we look at how we're going to implement, what resources we need, all of that comes from not only the extensive engagement that we're doing, but beyond that, the piloting teachers, the education partners. I've got $1 million in grants so that they can do a deep dive into the specifics of what needs to be adjusted in the draft curriculum. So all of that will inform positively how we move forward with the draft curriculum.
Thank you, Lana. Lisa?
Hi, my name is Alessia. I'm from RD News Now.
Hi.
I just have a question. Do you have any statistics as to how many students, let's say, per school, and in which areas are predominantly facing this issue right now here in Alberta, or Central Alberta in particular?
I have global numbers in terms of, what I read out earlier in my announcement, but as far as the specifics, I'm not sure if Julia, if you have any specific numbers.
The 4%.
The 4% provincially is the number that we have at this point in time. I just know that this is a program. I'm a former rehab practitioner and working with the developmentally disabled, and this is something that critical interventions at an early age, early intervention is really critical to ensuring that we provide these students with success. So being able to build capacity within our education system so that more teachers, more educational assistants, more of students and administrators and even other students are able to understand the unique needs, as Julia said, of these students is critical.
And do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, for the students that, let's say, this isn't something that's talked about a lot, like for the students that come in, are teachers also trained to perhaps look for signals that a student may be facing fetal alcohol syndrome, or is it just programs that are for students who are already diagnosed?
No, this is actually for teachers to be able to increase that capacity so that they can become aware of what the triggers are, what the signals are. I think, Julie, you probably have more that you want to add to that. Come on forward, please. These are the experts in this area, so I'll turn it over to her.
Thank you, Minister Lagrange. So we do have other services that the networks provincially are providing, as well as the RAP program. So we have foundations in FASD 101 that we offer any school that wishes. We are already in schools providing that kind of information where we can, yes, there are signs when we know that a child is potentially impacted by FASD. So we really encourage the RAP instructional coaches to also utilize the power of the networks and our other services that we can offer.
Thank you so much. All right. Now that we're done from the floor, we will go upstairs to the phones. Operator, will you please put through our first caller?
Lisa Johnson, Edmonton Journal.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Just to follow up on one of the previous questions there, last week the opposition NDP minister was questioning whether 2% of the province's students is going to be a reflective sample of different demographics of the population of students in this province to be able to give proper feedback on the draft curriculum. So what would you say to that?
Again, what I said earlier is that that 2% is 2% more than what used to be piloted in the past. 2%, I guess, would actually work out to about 200% more than what was piloted in the past. When you think in terms that previous curriculums often were just brought to the education system and said, here you go, here's your new curriculum. Whereas I feel very strongly, particularly given the breadth of this curriculum change, that we really needed to pilot the curriculum and get that really essential feedback from teachers on the ground working with it.
All right, and Lisa, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, thanks. So in regards to that, I mean, no Francophone school board would agree to test the curriculum. So how can Albertans know that the government is going to get reflective feedback on this curriculum? Can you give us an indication of what kind of schools are piloting this draft curriculum, and if those schools and students include Indigenous students, if they include students of color? Is there a representative sample amongst this 2% that can speak to some of the criticism that this draft curriculum has received?
The draft curriculum piloting is just one of the many ways we're gathering feedback. We're gathering feedback from our online surveys, from our ongoing webinars and engagement sessions with Albertans right across the province. I also have the education partners, which includes the Francophones and the First Nations authorities, as well as the College of Alberta School Superintendents, the Alberta School Boards Association, and others who have taken part. We've given out $1 million in grants so they can do a deep dive into the specifics of what needs to be looked at, what are the strengths, what are the opportunities for further refinement. I can share that the schools and the teachers that are piloting are right across the province. They're urban, they're rural. They have all students within their categories, so all students' demographics are being represented. And as I said earlier, the Francophones have taken us up on the grant to do a deep dive and provide us that really rich feedback as to what they see is still needed to be further refined in the curriculum draft.
Thank you, Minister. All right, we have time for 2 more questions. Operator, can you please put through our next caller?
Janet French, CBC.
Hi there. I'm just going to follow up on Lisa's question. First of all, I don't think it's fair to compare the past to the present when it comes to curriculum, because this is the first time this province has ever tried to implement every subject, every grade, pretty much all at the same time. It used to be subject by subject. So when you're looking at these 360 teachers, you're talking about whether it's or not it's representative. If you divide that by the number of grades that are being tested and then break that down by subjects, because some schools are only testing some subjects in some grades, the samples become absolutely tiny, right? We're talking about a handful of teachers testing each subject in each grade. Why will your office not release a breakdown that doesn't identify any teachers or locations of what kinds of schools are testing this curriculum? How many private schools? How many charter schools? How many teachers are testing what grade? How many teachers are testing what subject in what grade?
Well, again, we're getting data from right across the province. This has been the most transparent and open process of engagement. It's been extremely comprehensive with our surveys. As I said earlier, our many engagement strategies and more to come as we move towards the spring of 2022. We are continuing to work with everybody, but the fact that the curriculum has become hyper-politicized has made us worried for the safety of those teachers and those students. And so we have guarded their privacy in this respect. But I can assure you that the information that we're gathering from all the avenues of engagement is very beneficial.
Janet, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I would love to ask more about how the safety of the students being jeopardized by testing the curriculum, but I need to ask about vaccination. So you wrote to all school authorities earlier this fall asking them, along with Minister Copping, to implement vaccine mandates. So to date, how many public Catholic and Francophone boards alone have done this so far? And are you satisfied with the actions that school boards and authorities have taken so far to require vaccination in schools?
Well, and as you know, Janet, that I do not have the authority to mandate this across the province, the legislative authority, because school boards are, in fact, the employers of teachers and their staff. I know that a number of them have already proceeded towards this proof of vaccination program. Others, because of the election, the municipal election, and the election of a new trustee board, have delayed that process or are working in the process of working through it. So I don't have actual numbers for you today, but we can get the ones that we do have and share that with you.
Thanks, Janet. Operator, will you please put through our last caller?
Jim Ellis, CFCW Radio.
Thanks. I'd actually like to ask a question about this RAP project, if you could. I just want to know, you said there's 28 school authorities on board. Do you expect more? How many more can we expect? And how do schools take part, I guess? Do they have to want to do this? How do they take part in it?
Well, it is a voluntary program, and I expect that all school authorities, they're always looking for additional resources and supports and an ability to expand their capacity and really provide the supports that they need for the students. But I will turn that back over to you. Well, come on up and share, because you have the knowledge base. So I was getting the thumbs up for those.
Yeah, thank you, Minister Lagrange. You're correct.
And just a reminder, just for speaking, for those at home, this is Julie Nansen Ashton, ED of the Central Alberta FASD Network.
Thank you. So yes, Minister Lagrange is absolutely correct. It is a voluntary program. We're really working towards collaborating with the teachers and administrative staff. We know their level of expertise is very high, and they already do wonderful work with our students impacted by FASD, but we are also available to reach out. We've started to do a soft launch throughout October, and now we will really do a hard launch and reach out to our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. And Tim, do you have a follow-up on the line?
I do, if I could. I'm just wondering about the smaller schools that may not have the resources or may not have the staff capacity to maybe take part in this. Would there be other supports that they could lean on?
Yes. So our FASD networks that are already in existence, 12 throughout the province, Central Alberta being one of them, we already have individuals, employees working within the schools. We have prevention conversation specialists working in the schools. Everything is free of charge. We don't charge any PD dollars. We work with the schools whenever they can allow us into the school. The smaller schools, we are already in the rural areas with outreach and support, as well as our prevention conversation specialists.
And
if I could just add to that, these dollars will actually help us and allow FASD to expand their reach into those smaller schools. It really is providing additional supports in those areas.
Excellent. That's all the time we have for today. Media requesting a group photo. We will do one at the end. Reach out to me on my email, justin.marshall@gov.ab.ca to get one. Thanks for your time, everybody.